afternoon. Katherine Albrecht here, hoping this is all working correctly. I apologize to folks on YouTube who were not hearing sound just now, but here I am. I am live, and today I'm going to try to make something work. I know I said if I can make this show work on YouTube for 1 week interrupted without any errors, we'll go live, but I keep introducing new things. So I added the new automated software to enable me to get up on YouTube quickly, and of course we had an issue with that. I have my chat room open in Katherine-Albrecht.com, so I'm going to ask right now. Hang on, I'm just going to type in there. Am I live on YouTube? Hopefully. Okay. And I'm trying a new thing today. As I talked about on yesterday's program, I read from the book Chasm of Fire, published in the 1970s by a woman named Irina Tweedie, who is a Sufi, I guess an ascended Sufi master. She passed away in 1999, but in 1961, she took a pilgrimage, as so many Americans and Europeans seem to have done. She was British, actually Russian, but lived in London. And she went to India to find a guru, like so many people did. But sounds like I'm across the room. Why does it sound like I'm across the room? I don't know. All right, well, I hear I'm live, but I sound like I'm across the room, so I'll figure that out. We'll get this. So she in India could have landed really anywhere. She could have landed with a Hindu guru. She could have landed with any number of Eastern mystic sects, but she landed with a Sufi, with a Muslim Sufi. And in her book, it's a diary, and she tells the story of the 4 years, or about 4. Was it 1, 2, 3? Probably 6 years, I think, when you add them all up, that she spent being humiliated, abused, degraded, insulted, having all her money taken away, and being reduced to a shadow of her former self, and then called it good. So her message was basically the whole message of that particular sect of Sufism, which I've since done a lot of additional research on. There's been a lot of arrests and accusations and child abuse and sexual abuse, all sorts of things in there. But it's not surprising when you read her book, because she went to India just to find herself after her husband's death. She was 55 years old when she got there in 1961. And she, like so many other people, I would say young people, but she wasn't really, so many other Western people thought that somehow this Eastern mysticism was going to be the answer. There's an echo. I don't know why there's an echo. I'm looking at my little notes. I'm trying to keep everything going, but I am on YouTube, I think. So I read yesterday some excerpts from her diary, some of the more disturbing parts, and I promised yesterday that I would play some video clips from an interview that I found with her that she did in the 1980s sometime, when she was obviously an older woman she would have been in her 80s then. Probably late 70s, early 80s. So I have an interview with her because I wanted to figure out what happened to this woman after going to India, after following the path of love. And I cough when I say that. It's really the path of complete domination, bullying, and enslavement to a single person. So that's what it is. There's no love in it anywhere, not from her, not from the master, but the whole goal of this entire being trained as a devotee of the guru is to completely lose all desire to be well treated, to lose all of your material possessions, to lose any desire to not sit out in the rain, to lose any desire to not be insulted and called names and bullied and sexually abused, and you name it. You just, by emptying yourself of all of your self-identity and your sense of self-worth, or your sense that you deserve anything at all, then that is the ascendance that they are seeking for in Sufism. So I'm going to try this. This is going to be an experiment. We'll see how it goes. I spent today learning how to use my video editing software program, DaVinci Resolve. It's kind of complicated. I was able to take the hour and probably about an hour and 15, hour and 20 minute interview that Irina Tweedie did in the 1980s. She is in it looks kind of like a living room of a retreat, I suppose. There's a fireplace behind her, and there she is with her gray hair, and you can tell, you can't see the other people around her, but you can tell that she's surrounded by a group of groupies because whenever she says something funny, they all laugh, and you can just tell that she's speaking to an audience. And the very first clip I want to play, so here's why this is going to be tricky. So I have taken those clips, I have excerpted them out, and I have loaded them into my studio computer software right here. Here we go. And I have also given a copy of the audio because I'm not able to play audio from my YouTube stream to where KHNC can hear it, if that makes sense. So what's going to happen is JD there at KHNC has an audio copy of each of these clips. He is going to play the audio copy, and those of you who are on YouTube, if you jump on over there, if you go to the Katherine Albrecht radio show on YouTube and click on today's live stream, which I believe is streaming live right now, you will be able to watch these clips. Now, the only thing I have a question about, and I don't know how this is going to work, is in terms of the delay. So there may actually be a delay. I know that YouTube, if I ever have the window up, I can see myself from a couple seconds back. It's very disorienting. I believe that there is also a delay on KHNC. So you're hearing now things that I spoke a couple seconds ago, kind of like the stars you see were there millions of years ago. Not quite like that, but the same idea. There's a lag. I don't know how this is going to work, so I'm going to rely on you guys. I have my, hang on, let me just say hi in it. There we go. I have my YouTube chat open right in front of me. I have my Katherine-Albrecht chat open to my right. And I have all my controls here. So it is, I have time to play this. All right, JD, can you just kind of let us know? The listeners will hear you too. Can you let us know if you have the clip ready? That is Irina Isn't Very Nice. That's the one I want to play first. So as soon as I hear from JD that he's got it ready.
Yeah, it's ready. Just tell me when you want it.
Okay, so let me cue this up. I'm going to press a button, and it's going to be similar to when I put my, please stand by, my on-air thing that says I'll be right back. And let me think what all I have to do, because I want to do this right. Thank you, by the way, everybody, for having patience with me. Let me set this up. This is the very beginning of the interview, and what I discovered right away, there's a small sound in the middle of the interview, and she stops the interview and really turns in a very irritated way towards the person and says, please don't do that. I'm in another world. And she's just talking, like kind of like me. I'm a radio host. Don't interrupt me. I'm drawing on information from the beyond. All right, so Irina Isn't Very Nice. I'm going to click the mute to the station, and here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Then I thought, who doesn't know that Charles is dead? All my friends knew, most of them came to the funeral. Then I thought, Cecil. So I pick up the telephone and ring Cecil, a friend. It was on Saturday. Cecil is never at home on Saturday. But that Saturday she picked up the phone and answered. So I said, Cecil, Charles died. That disturbed me. Please don't do this. Switching off, perhaps. What did I say?
Charles died, and
yeah, you see, you shouldn't do that, because when I'm in the stream, I'm trying to tune in into something else which is not me. So please be very quiet.
Okay, I think I did it. I think I pulled it off. Hang on. Let me get back to me. Hey. All right, I think it worked. We'll find out during the break, and I'll be right back with 3 more clips from Irina Tweedie. Katherine Albrecht here. Stay tuned.
Why are most
flowing like a gentle river. Righteousness rolling over you like waves in the sea. Peace flowing like a gentle river. Righteousness rolling over you like waves in the sea. Peace flow. Night watchman, how long till daybreak? Night watchman, how long till daybreak? How long will this night last? How long will this night last? Morning's coming, morning's coming, but for now, it's still night.
Okay. I think it worked. I'm
At
excited.
my post, my Lord, sticking to my post day
Okay,
after day.
here we go. Good. All right, so I think I did it. I got 3 more clips of Irina Tweedie. She is the author of a book called Chasm of Fire. And a chasm, of course, is like a big pit. And I don't know about you, but a chasm of fire. She explains in, is it in this next clip? No, it's not. It's going to actually be in the last clip that she explains where that came from. And it actually came from a Christian mystic, which is interesting. She'll tell the story there. But in that very first one, the one that I just played, the part that struck me is there's a little tiny sound. You can barely hear it. Maybe it was a little bit louder in the room, but she stops mid-sentence of telling her story, turns to the person and says, "Don't do that. That's very annoying." And then she can't reclaim her train of thought. And then she says, when I'm going off into, I'm I'm channeling things from far away. Don't interrupt me. There are a couple of different places in not only this video, but other videos that I've watched of her where that little snappy meanness comes out. And it's not surprising because my observation, my read of her book, is that her master, the person who she was abused and bullied by for 6 years, he was a very mean person too. He actually insulted her and called her all kinds of names, including stupid old woman and get out of my sight and terrible bullying, awful mistreatment. If you missed yesterday's show, the gist of this is that she went searching for really any guru, looking for any form of enlightenment without much of an idea what kind. She wound up with a Sufi mystic, and not a Sufi mystic, he's a Sufi Muslim in India where they are a minority. When she got there, it was squalid, it was filthy. There were children literally defecating and urinating on the lawn in front of her, just very, very disgusting conditions. 110 degrees in the shade, super hot, really miserable. And then she she actually was a wealthy woman. She had all her money taken away from her by him. Thousands and thousands of British pounds that he took from her. She wound up absolutely destitute. And after all these years, after this book, I wanted to see what had become of her. And I found out that she had become now a guru doing this to others. So this is the video. All right. Now, one of the things that I wanted to talk about in here is about trusting your instincts and trusting your gut. She, I believe, in falling in with these people, had, well, I don't believe this, I know, she had so many warnings over and over and over. Her, she would become terrified, and yet she would just do the thing anyway. Everything in her body would scream no, and she would just do it anyway, because that's part of the I don't know, brainwashing that they do is they tell you, oh yeah, the more afraid you are, the more angry and filled with murderous intent you are, then the healthier you're becoming. And so they really praised these responses of negative emotions. All right, the one I'm going to play next is, it's called Who is Lilith? Now, to put this in context, this is before she met the guru, before when she'd first gone to India. Her husband had died. She'd gone to India just to kind of find herself. She's riding horseback. She's traveling around. She goes to the Himalayas. She goes to Kathmandu. She does all these things. And she says she's quite a lovely time. Well, at one point, she's staying at a place where it's robbed and all her stuff is stolen. And some Indian friends say, well, why don't you come stay with us? And while she's staying with them, they tell her about this woman named Lilith. And Lilith plays a big role in her story. So let's see. I think I've got it queued up here. JD, are you ready with the Who is Lilith clip?
I'm ready.
All right. If you're ready, I'm ready. 3, 2, 1, here we go.
And those Indian friends decided it would be much better if I come and stay with them, which I did. And from there, yes, in this Indian friend, she was telling me about a certain Miss Lillian. Very interesting person. She sleeps in ancient temples. She loves rats. All her underwear was stolen by the Arabs. So it was this sort of life. Yeah. And I was interested to meet this Lillian, but she wasn't there.
All right. Okay, so let me bring it back to me. There we go. I put the little comments up there. If you're watching on YouTube, I put up there like, wait, what? She went, and it's not Lilith, it's Lillian. My apologies. But when they're telling her about this woman named Lillian, just this random other person, she sleeps in temples, abandoned temples. She likes rats, and Arabs stole all her underwear. She's like, oh, wow, a woman who sleeps in random temples and likes rats. Where can I meet this woman? All right, so this is like my first indication, or it should have been her first indication. You know, when somebody tells you, what do they say? When somebody tells you who you are, believe them. Who they are, believe them. Right? If somebody says, "I'm a jerk. I'm a liar. I'm a bully. If you fall in love with me, you'll be miserable. Your life will suck forever." Believe them. Believe them. People will generally tell you who they are. They generally will. And in this case, Lillian was clearly telling people what kind of a person she was. Okay. I want to go into the next clip, and this one I put my own little, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're not, hop over there if you probably have time to get on there. I put my little commentary. I learned how to use my video editing program and put little captions at the top. I'm not super sophisticated yet. They're going to get better, like the YouTube people, which have all the great, glossy explosions and things. But I do have them there. So here we go. This is Who is Lilith? And you'll notice in the middle, you guys watching on YouTube, I even managed to do this cool transition in the middle. She's talking about one thing, and then I kind of transitioned it over to the second thing. All right. So this one is called Lilith. It's not Lilith, it's Lillian, my mistake. Guru Terror. So JD, if you are ready, we can go ahead and play this one.
Ready.
Okay, hang on a minute. Let me get my little clicker ready. And 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
And while we were traveling on horses, Lillian was telling me about her guru. Lillian was with me at that time. And she, being French, she called her the guru. And one day we were caught in a snowstorm, and she was riding in front of me and I was riding at the back. And she said, please don't speak to me. I will go to Samadhi and I will contact my teacher, and if we are in danger, we will be led to safety. Well, I was very much impressed by that. But it wasn't necessary. The snowstorm abated and everything was all right. And this Lillian gave me the address of my teacher. So she said, I have to remain in Kashmir because I have to go to a religious congress. But I give you the address of my teacher. I did not know that it's going to be my teacher as well later on. And she began to write it down. And you know, when she was writing it down, I became terrified. I said, listen, I don't want to know his name. And it was like a kind of terror in my heart.
Okay. Hang on. Let me see if I've got this right. I think I'm back. All right. So if you were able to see that, you saw my little comments. Don't do it. Run. She talks like this throughout the whole book. She writes like this throughout her whole book. That time and time again, she's filled with a sense of dread. She's filled with a tremendous sense of loss. She feels a tremendous longing for something that she is about to lose. All of these feelings that the Holy Spirit, well, if you're a Christian, you got the Holy Spirit, but if you're just a human being and you're in the presence of something dark, prey can feel a predator. What I find so interesting about this, and what I really want to caution people listening, what I really want to give you is a caution. I want to warn you. If someone tells you that, oh, pay no attention to that fear you're feeling, that's a good thing. Or, as I mentioned yesterday, she pulverized a small little mouse with just violent, homicidal, violent hatred. She pulverized this mouse, and afterwards she's looking at this bloody pulp of a mouse that had gotten in her room and saying, what's happening to me? Why am I filled with hate? I could have killed a human being. If there'd been a human being in the room, I would have killed them and enjoyed it. I would have had no remorse at all. What is happening to me? And she goes to the guru and she says, explain, I'm worried, help. And he says, oh no, that's good. That's a good thing, because what it shows is that you must be a pretty rotten person. You must have some really deep-seated darkness in you, but it's coming out. You're getting rid of it. You're becoming purified. And by the time we're done with you, there will be nothing left of you at all. Your mind won't even work. You will have nothing inside whatsoever. You will be depleted. You will be pretty much destroyed. We are decimating you. And she's like, oh, okay. Well, I guess that's good. So my caution to, I guess even to myself, but to everyone listening, don't listen if it makes no sense, if it seems completely illogical that having, becoming more and more hate-filled, which happens to her throughout the book. You see it every month. She's writing in her diary, like, I hate everybody. She even goes to him and says, what's up with all this hate? And he says, well, that's because you're prideful. You just think you're better than other people. And she's like, oh, is that what's happening? Completely nonsensical. I got to click back to me. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm back. Thank you for notes in the little chat rooms. That's close. I'm not going to count that as a mistake. It's going to stop my 1 week counter. But anyway, so time and again, she is getting signs that this is the wrong road, like becoming filled with hate, like becoming filled with terror all the time, like crying every day for hours on end. It's just so many indications to just get out, run, leave, don't do it. And yet she sticks around. And what's so insidious about this Sufism, this particular brand, I don't know if they're all like this, but this one, is that it teaches you that good is evil and that evil is good. That the worse you feel, the better. All right. Yeah, no, don't believe it. If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. All right. Stay tuned. I'll be right back.
Is your email box overrun with spam? With a StartMail account, you'll never have to give your real email address to a stranger again. Online shopping, newsletter subscriptions, getting that 30% off coupon, they all need your email address. But with StartMail, you can invent new addresses or aliases linked to your inbox behind the scenes and give those out to people while keeping your real address hidden. It's just one more protection from StartMail.com.
Red alert, Yahoo users. You've fallen in a trap that could ruin your life if you keep using Yahoo.
You consent to sharing all data in your email account with our AI providers, and you grant us a perpetual license to use, display, publish, and publicly distribute your content in any media known.
Flowing like a gentle river. Righteousness rolling over you like waves in the sea. Peace flowing like a gentle river. Righteousness rolling over you like waves in the sea. Peace flowing like a gentle river. Righteousness rolling over you like waves in the sea. Peace flowing like a gentle river. Righteousness rolling over you like waves in the sea. I am the Lord. Therefore, humble yourselves under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time. Therefore, humble yourselves under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time. Casting all your care upon him, casting all your worries upon him, for he cares for you. He cares for you. He cares. He cares for you.
Amen to that. Unlike this Sufi master guy. Ugh. Yeah, doesn't care for anybody. Can you guys tell I'm really enjoying this? I love that I was able to grab these video clips because it is the beginning of me doing like podcasts, and when I run across something juicy, I can just put it together and put it out there. It doesn't even have to be necessarily something I talk about on the radio show. I could do it at 2 a.m. if I find something cool. I'm so excited. All right, it's going to be really fun. I have in front of me I have spent so many hours on this. This is probably, I'm glad I did it. It's going to have to turn into a podcast, so I got to do something more with all this time I have put in on this topic, because I can't devote a whole chapter of it to it in my book. But what I do have, it's pretty tidy. I don't yet have the ability to show you my screen on YouTube, but if you could see it, what you would see is a pretty orderly rewrite of the excerpts from her book. And so yesterday I was trying to read some of them. Today I'm going to read you just a couple more. And I know I said I was going to talk about the goodness of God in contrast to this. I did not have time to gather together all of my, just countless statements in the Bible and examples from the life of Jesus as to his kindness and goodness. But one thing that I will say is that he called us friends. He says, I do not call you servants, I call you friends. I call you friends. Wow. Beautiful. Family members, friends, children, sons and daughters, brothers and sisters. We're part of his body. We're all part of the same family. It's a beautiful thing. That is not at all what you're going to hear about from here. Okay, so just I'll recap from yesterday. Irina Tweedie goes to India. When I went to India in 1961, I hoped to get instruction in yoga, expected wonderful teachings, but what the teacher mainly did was force me to face the darkness within myself. Right, already. And it almost killed me. It was done very simply by using violent reproof, even aggression. My mind was kept in a state of confusion, unable to function properly. I was beaten down in every sense until I had to come to terms with that in me that I had been rejecting all my life. Okay. She meets the guru for the first time, and he asks, "Why did you come to me?" I told him I wanted God. I was searching for the truth, but not the Christian idea of an anthropomorphic deity. I want the rootless root, the causeless cause of the Upanishads. All right. Now, I have to say that the fact that Christ is an anthropomorphic deity is a feature, not a bug. That's actually pretty amazing that God would become one of us so that we would not cower in terror from him, so we would not be berated and abused and harmed by him, but so that we could relate to him as one of us, the compassion and the kindness shown in having actually become man. He knows our struggles. He knows what it feels like to have, hands. He knows what it feels like to be cold. He knows what it feels like to be tired. He knows what it feels like to have his hands, nails put through his hands. He knows what it is to be human. So this Christian idea of an anthropomorphic deity is one of the most beautiful aspects of Christianity there is. All right, now let me go on. I told him I did not know what Sufism was, only what I've read in a few books. Surrender is not the end. A complete self-annihilation in the master is required. All right, and this is kind of the summary. The master will ascertain by means of his powers if the union is complete. Then he will pass the disciple to his master, who is not in the physical body anymore. So basically, this is like an unbroken generation of dead people that you get passed on to. At the beginning, the disciple cannot communicate with the master's master, but later he will learn how to do it by himself. And at the last stage, the pupil is passed on to the prophet, not as Muhammad, as man, but as God, the supreme essence. And I made a little note here. That is literally the only mention of Muhammad the prophet in this entire book, in her entire 6-year training into Sufi Islam. Right? That's it. That's the only mention. And guess who made that mention? Her. Because she's talking about a book she had read when he said, "What do you know?" And she said, "This is what I know." He never, ever mentions the prophet. And in fact, he does not mention God. All he mentions throughout his entire training of her is how she has to merge into him. All right. Now, back to what I was talking about in the videos. If you, what is it? The book, The Gift of Fear. I'm going to have to actually look at that book. But it basically, fear is a gift. If you got the creeps, if your hair stands up on end when you walk into a place, or listen to yourself. If somebody comes on, gets on board the train and you're like, ugh, right? Listen, pay attention. Here's what she just over and over. So a feeling of great loneliness, dark, endless longing. I do not know for what, much disappointment and much bitterness. Day after day to sit, this is going on through her diary, this is like a month later, day after day to sit in these squalid surroundings among the screaming, noisy horde of the dirtiest children. Twice I cried in sheer despair. Going on. He says, he sings this song it's an awful song about surrendering and becoming one with the person you have to destroy yourself to. He says, do you get the idea? After he's done singing, a complete surrender is essential. Complete surrender, beginning from the physical body and on all levels. And he repeats this so many times throughout her training that she must surrender the physical body first. There's no question in my mind. She doesn't talk about it because in the 1970s she didn't write about it. There's no question in my mind that this involves some sexual horrors. All right. Let me go on. It was like a burning fire inside my heart, the longing for God. Well, duh, because you're leaving him behind. Go here. He proceeded to tell us how to merge into one's teacher when two souls become one. All right, now I want to read this part. So he says to her, she's been there about 6 months, supposing there are 4 doors leading into the spiritual life, one of gambling, one of drink, one of theft, and one of sex. And supposing you are told you have to pass through one of them in order to reach spirituality, what would you do? By the way, notice God is not mentioned. He looked at me with a radiant smile. I had to avert my eyes. My heart made a jump against my ribs. I caught my breath. My mind became completely empty. I looked at him helplessly. Well, I suppose if I have to take the door of gambling, I'll have to gamble. Or in order to pass through it. If it's the door of drink, I suppose I have to get drunk. If it's theft, I suppose I have to steal something. And she goes on, and here I stopped. There were many people sitting looking at me, mostly men listening to every word. And if it is the door of sex, he asked with a wicked twinkle in his eye. Well, I suppose I will have to do that too, I said quickly. Now here's the kick. I was really perplexed, not knowing what he was driving at. Really? He threw his head back and laughed heartily, greatly amused. I don't know why, but I had a sudden feeling of foreboding. Lady, you don't know why? Come on. His laughter, why was he laughing? Somehow it made me shiver. Okay, again, gift of fear. Pay attention. All right, then he told us, here's the next part. This is crazy. Told us we were all going to a concert tonight. Dress smartly. He addressed Lillian and me. So I will. All right. Now we skip ahead. The concert was lovely. Never, oh, never have I enjoyed music so much in all my life. With my head full of lovely Indian music, I went to bed. It was then at this moment, just when I stretched out comfortably, pulling the blankets over me, that to my surprise I felt a vibration, a sound in the lower part of my abdomen. I sat up in surprise, but I was not mistaken. It was a sound, and I listened to it. It was like nothing I'd ever felt before. It sounded like a soft hiss, and it felt like a gentle tickling, as if butterfly wings or a flutter or a spinning sound of a wheel. Very strange. A suspicion flashed through my mind, again, pay attention, that perhaps it was leading to some kind of trouble. But what? What? Who knows? There was a deep, dark fear, but where? It was so foreign to my body, so unusual, so out of the blue. It did not take me long to discover. Now, please forgive me, and if you have children, this is like rated R. Okay. Without the slightest indication it may be coming, I was flooded with a powerful sexual desire. It was just the desire for no object in particular, uncontrollable, a wild cosmic force. I sat there helpless, shaking with fear. Good heavens, what was happening? Okay, I'm going to skip ahead. Then the most terrifying night of my life began. Never, not even in my young days, had this body known anything even faintly comparable to this. It was madness in its lowest animal form, a paroxysm of craving, a wild howling of everything female in me. Okay, I'm going to skip this part because it's gross. Then, she says, I was beside myself. My body seemed to be breaking under this force. Now, here's where it gets even grosser. I felt like vomiting, trembling, felt as if I'd fainted. Okay, now the following night, she says, last night was even worse than the first. So the following night. It was unbearable. Here's the part. I was sure I was going mad. I suddenly noticed in the room around me a whirling dark gray mist. Trying to focus on it, I detected that there were strange shapes moving about, and soon I could distinguish the most hideous things or beings, leering, obscene, all coupled in sexual, elemental creatures, animal-like, performing wild orgies. I was sure I was going mad. Cold terror gripped me. Hallucinations, madness, no hope for me. Insanity, this was the end. I buried my face in the pillows not to see. I do not even know, not in this life at least, I did not know that such disgusting practices were even possible with dogs, men, women, horses, the most ghastly spider-like creatures obscenely moving around, leering at me, dancing in gray shadows. Okay, why doesn't she just get out? What do you yeah, all right. I don't know. That seems like a sign. Do you think? I don't know. No. I'll be right back.
I've been hearing a lot about the LifeWave patches.
Peace flowing like a gentle river. Righteousness rolling over you like waves in the sea. Peace righteousness rolling over you like waves in the sea. Peace flowing like a gentle river, righteousness rolling over you like waves in the sea.
Text Catherine right now at
And then I thought,
877-536-1360.
who doesn't know?
That's 877-536-1360.
God is in this place, truly. God is in this place, truly. Incredible, wonderful, holy. God is in this place, truly. God is in this place, truly. Incredible, wonderful, holy.
All right, I'm back.
This is God's heart.
Yeah, I'm reading through all my notes. I don't know. If I'm in a room and I see dark mists filled with leering, demonic creatures doing things I've never seen before, but scaring me to death, and it happens night after night after night, I might say to myself, this is not the path to God. This is not the path to love. This isn't working. She has so many opportunities later throughout this book where she feels this incredible longing. At one point, she looks at the sunset and she is just filled with this sense of awe and the glory of nature. And of course, we know God through his creation, right? And she has this crushing sense that there's something she's known since childhood that she's always wanted, and that it's just receding further and further away from her, but it's calling to her. I'm like, yes, that's God. That's God, not this other creepy stuff. All right, I just have one or two more that I want to get to, and then I want to play this. So she asks him, all right, so much sorrow is in me, there's no speech left to express it. Everything seems to be dead, there's no hope. This piece is only made out of darkness. Why am I in such a depressed state periodically? This fear of you, such a fear of you that it's like panic, she asks him. No wonder I'm afraid of you. I feel so helpless, and the feeling of utter helplessness is frightening. Human beings are afraid of the dark, afraid of suffering. I'm afraid of new sufferings you may give me. It seems I've had enough of them. Sufferings, he said, you haven't begun yet. I looked at him in horror. Do you mean the horrors I've suffered until now are nothing? Nothing at all. There's way more to come. All seems dark and lifeless. There's no purpose anywhere in anything, no God to pray to, no hope, nothing at all. There was little of my mind left. So sad. I don't know. When I was reading this, we've started a ministry here at the church that we're just getting off the ground, which is the Freedom in Christ, the Steps to Freedom Deliverance Ministry, which is designed to set people free. And I'm going to say more about that. I actually am aware that there is a ministry or a, I'll call it that, near KHNC actually that is doing this, reached out to me. So if you want to contact me, maybe we can get you on the show. But the the point of all of it, no matter how you do it, is that there are steps that you can take to be set free from this kind of horror, this kind of darkness, this kind of sadness, this kind of mistake. There is, over and over, he says to her, once we've merged, there's no going back. You'll never be able to go back. It's not true. There's nothing you can do ever that you can't go back from. Even Charles Babbage, who drew a circle around himself in blood and summoned the devil and sold his soul to the devil, or tried to, even though the devil never showed up, in order to achieve fame and success and human, recognition, which he has plenty of now because he's the father of computers. Even he could have come back from it. There's no such thing as selling your soul to the devil and never being able to rescind that deal. He'll tell you you can't, but you can. All right. Let's see. At the very end. So she describes at 2 different points in this book the Kundalini yoga thing, when something unfurls in you. And I think that the second time it happened, that was pretty much the end of her. Just in terms of her ability to function as a human being. From that point on, she's functioning just in darkness. And after her guru dies, she's literally channeling the dead. I mean, just speaking to the dead. It's yucky stuff. So since I have my last clip queued up, why don't we go ahead and play this? This is where she's talking about the opposite, right? Calling good evil and evil good. She's talking about women, and that women's attachment to their children is a bad thing that you have to overcome. All right, let's play this. JD, it's women's insecurity, and whenever you're ready, I'll go ahead and click up my...
Ready to go.
Okay, here we go. 3, 2...
The woman need only one practice, the detachment from the worldly things. Because we, by our very nature, we are attached to comfort, to money, to children. Because a woman has to bear children, we need security. Woman is attached to security. If a woman is prepared to give up security, because spiritual life is utmost insecurity, no man's land. Niemandland, glaube ich, heißt das Deutsch. It's like walking on water, walking on air. You have nothing under your feet. It's a chasm of fire. Actually, the title, A Chasm of Fire, is from Gregory of Nyssa, the Christian mystic. He was contemporary of St. Augustine. He said, the path of love is like a bridge of hair across the chasm of fire. Of hair, you know. You walk on it and it falls. You fall into the fire. Very insecure indeed.
All right. Okay, I don't know if that being out of sync was, oh, well, it was out of sync on my end, but I think it worked. Let me make sure. Do I have everything? Nope, my face. There we go. I'm back. Okay. I just wanted to play that last clip, and the reason I played all 4 clips and the reason I've spent so much time on this is not so much that I'm interested in Irina Tweedie, because frankly I'm kind of sick of her, but as much as I have compassion on her and I'm so sorry that she went down this road and didn't find her way back to safety and to happiness and to goodness and to attachment to people and to love and all the real things that make life worth living, I do feel very sad that she fell into that state. I've read about so many people throughout history, because now I'm reading the lives of people in the 1800s, the 1900s. What's his name? Is it William Carruthers? Can't remember his first name, but the guy who invented nylon, who committed suicide. And his life too, same thing. He's so bereft. He's so lost. He has rejected God. He knows he's rejected God, and there's nothing in his life worth living for, even though the invention that he created, nylon, went on to earn, get this, back then, $1 billion a year for the DuPont chemical company that he worked for. And yet he thought he was worthless. He knew that he had created that. He got all these awards and he was invited to speak and he got all these accolades. People thought he was just the most amazing, brilliant person ever. And yet his life was pathetic. He was miserable. He was depressed. He was having affairs with married women. He was lying and cheating, and he was drinking alcohol, became an alcoholic, and he finally died. I don't know, I think he was in his 40s. So many people that I'm reading about as I'm doing research, people that if you didn't know their personal lives, you might think, wow, that person really did some amazing stuff. And then you find out they killed themselves. Or then you find out all these other dark things that happened to them. And all of them have passed away, right? Everyone who has ever been alive in the 1800s is no more. The people from the 1900s, the early half of the 1900s, who had so much going for them, so many accolades and so much praise, so rich, so much money, they're gone. They're not here anymore. None of that was worth anything. And as they look back on their lives, I think this Carruthers guy, as he looks back on his life was a suffering from the moment that he decided to make really bad moral choices, spiritual choices. And I don't get the sense that Irina Tweedie is very happy either. There is a harshness and a bitterness in her, and it flies out periodically in little flashes. But if you're a Sufi master, you have to mistreat other people. That is your obligation. And if, anyway, so I won't spend any more time on this. I'm pretty much done with Sufis. I've had it. I don't ever want to mention this woman again. I'm up to here, up to my eyeballs. But I am really glad that this gave me an opportunity to learn how to use my equipment. And as I get better and better at mixing video and putting captions up and mixing them all together, you will begin to see more content going up on YouTube that isn't just my radio show. This weekend, my church will be hosting, let me see, I've got it in my, hang on, I got it in one of these windows. Is it over here? It is over here, but I can't find it. Hang on. No. Hang on. Ed Tweedie, but I'm not finding it, his website. It's in one of these many open windows. I'll tell you about it tomorrow. So Ed Tweedie is an activist an activist, a pastor. He travels and gives talks on issues of pornography addiction and gender issues and such. Anyway, I mentioned that he's going to be here this weekend speaking at our church, but I mentioned that because he will be the very first podcast interview that we do in the studio. Pastor Anthony is going to interview him here. Once we start getting that going, and I'll give you a link to it when it comes together next week. I think we'll be posting it over the weekend. Once we start doing that, all the brakes are off. We are just going to cruise forward with content. And I've got so much to talk about. I could do hundreds of podcasts. All right. Thank you so much for listening. Thanks for your patience. I'm moving on to other topics tomorrow. It was delightful being here with you, and thanks for all your kind wishes. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for listening. God bless you. Bye-bye.
In 1960.
Okay.